Xin chào. That means hello in Vietnamese. Welcome to Ray's Real Vietnam Tour. Some people have asked me what's a typical schedule that we could expect if we went to Vietnam with you. Okay, here's one. A couple of things to think about before you go. You need to make sure that your passport is valid and has enough pages and days left on it. Also, you need to apply for a visa on arrival from Vietnam. You can do this online. They'll give you the link once we get arranged. It will cost about US $12 with a further $45 to pay on arrival. Australians may not enter Vietnam without a visa, so make sure you do this step or else you could be left standing at the border gate and be told to go home. You need to get about $250 US in US currency. You can do that at your bank before you go. Also, it's a good idea to visit your bank to be sure that your Visa card works internationally. Just because it works in ATMs in Australia doesn't mean it'll work overseas. You won't be able to use it for transactions in Vietnam, but you need to be sure you can withdraw cash, so do check with your bank. If it's not already set up for international withdrawals at ATMs, they will be able to do it for you, no problem, it's quite easy. Phone. You have to decide if roaming is what you want. Otherwise, cheap throwaway temporary Vietnamese SIM cards are available for the time that you stay in Vietnam. A few pointers. Vietnamese people are very friendly and generally quite approachable, but there is some lingering resentment amongst older Viets over the war. You may be mistaken for an American, and that does not always end well. But Australians are greatly liked. Ladies, tampons are almost unknown in Vietnam, so bring a supply if you need them. Appliances. If you bring electric shavers, phone chargers, etc., they operate on the same voltage as Australia, but the plugs are different. Adapters are available very cheaply from most markets in Vietnam and corner stores. When venturing out of your hotel alone, take a hotel card with you in case you get lost. Some streets are a real maze, but with a hotel card, a taxi can always bring you back. Scams. Do not take a Chiclo at night. Mafia operators pressure them into taking you to places where you will be robbed, and the Chiclo driver will act very innocent, but he's in the deal. Beggars are not always genuine. It's an easy way to make money from the rich foreigners. Beware good-looking ladies, gentlemen who seem very friendly. They may feel good, but they are frisking you for your wallet. Or worse, are ladyboys who will squeeze your private parts until you hand over what's in your wallet. It could be painful. Okay, so what do we do? On our first day we meet at the hotel in Hanoi. We meet our fellow travellers. If you arrive early, you may wish to take a stroll around Lake Hoan Kiem, which will be close by, or stroll the old quarter for bargains. Don't forget to take a hotel card with you. Your hotel will wish to keep your passport. This is quite normal, and you need not be concerned or alarmed about this. If you go out before we meet, remember to take with you only what you need, enough money, and leave the bulk of your money, credit cards, etc. with the hotel reception. They'll keep it in a safe for you. It may be best not to buy too much before we meet, as your foreign face is a sure signal to merchants that you can pay more than the locals. The hotels. The hotels we choose will always be of a high standard, but not as expensive as the tourist trail ones. They will be cleaned, serviced with hot water and aircon, and the staff will speak English. They will have toilet paper. By the way, when you go out, in case you need to make a toilet stop while you're out, it's a good idea to take some toilet paper with you, because a lot of Vietnamese toilets have a hose and not toilet paper. Most hotels in Vietnam offer a light breakfast as part of the deal, and no money changes hands until you actually check out, at which time you get your passport back. You will be expected to pay in cash. Hotels have been chosen partly because of their proximity to attractions, and most places of interest are accessible on foot from the hotels. On our first evening in Vietnam, in the early evening we'll go by taxi or by Xe Om. That is a taxi motorbike driven by a local, and you sit on the back, or by rented motorbike, if you can drive a motorbike, to a famous Hanoi restaurant called Quan Ang Nong. where you will be able to see a number of kitchens preparing regional delicacies from all over Vietnam. You'll be able to wash down your selection with the local beer, Hanoi or Saigon or Tiger. Or maybe, if you're more adventurous, with the local vodka made from lemons called Nep Moi Chan. This restaurant has a very friendly and open atmosphere where locals and visitors interact for a fabulous experience. The next day, on the morning, from the hotel we'll take a cyclo tour of Hoan Kiem Lake, the Old Quarter, and some historical sites such as the One Pillar Pagoda, the Tomb of Ho Chi Minh, and the area around it, and to Ho Te, West Lake. This tour can be taken alternatively by Sayom or by rented motorcycle. We can lunch at Koto Restaurant, where rescued street kids are being taught skills for life. In the afternoon, directly from the Koto Restaurant, we'll walk across the road to the Temple of Literature, a university complex that was opened in the year 1060. This is an oasis of calm and quiet in the middle of chaos, and here you'll be able to buy handicrafts, hear a traditional music group, and simply relax and breathe in the atmosphere of history, tradition and culture. I certainly hope you have extra storage on your camera, as this place is one of the most photographed places in all the world. Needless to say, you'll also meet here the real treasure of Vietnam, the local people, who will be keen to talk with you. In the afternoon, if you can tear yourself away from the fascination of the Temple of Literature, we can take a taxi or Sayom to the suburb of Khao Giay, where you can marvel at the ethnic diversity that makes up Vietnam in the Ethnology Museum. Here there will be displays and artifacts from every ethnic group and some fabulous photo ops. On day 3, we'll go from Hanoi to Ha Long Bay. After breakfast, we'll board a tour bus to take us to the World Heritage listed Ha Long Bay. A word about buses. The standard of bus we use is not what's called the local bus. The companies we choose travel from departure point to destination point and do not stop to try to collect other passengers, an annoying habit which is done by the local buses. Buses are comfortable with reclining seats and air conditioning. The trip to Ha Long Bay takes approximately 3 hours, including a stop at a traditional Vietnamese roadhouse for lunch. The food is surprisingly good. On day 3, after lunch, settle into your cruise junk, into your cabin. Once out in Ha Long Bay, you'll marvel at the beauty. Maybe you'll want to jump ship and take a swim, or just relax on the deck. At night, it's very romantic. Once again, a lot of camera storage space will be needed. Enjoy an excellent meal on board, and settle down in your air-conditioned comfort for a very romantic night in one of the most beautiful places in the world. On day 3 we will leave Ha Long Bay, but in the morning, after breakfast on your junk, you'll visit a floating fish farm village and take a kayak or rowboat tour into a volcano crater. You could visit one of the spectacular limestone caves that dot the bay. This will take some time and is very, very interesting. Then we'll take the bus back to Hanoi. On day 4, we'll fly to Hue. Today we leave Hanoi and travel to the airport and then on to Hue. After booking into the hotel in Hue, it's time to take a cyclo or Sayom to the Citadel, the old castle, full of history, very, very interesting. By the way, the most beautiful girls in the world come from Hue, and that is not just my opinion. This is official. Miss Vietnam, who became Miss World a couple of years ago, was from Hue. Okay, if you feel you can handle it, we can have a meal of the local bun bo hue, an insanely spicy beef dish from this area, famous throughout Vietnam for bringing tears to the eyes of even the staunchest curry chomper. On day 5, we take a riverboat on the perfumed river to the royal tombs, where we see Vietnam's terracotta army, complete with elephants. You can even learn how to make incense at Tien Mu Pagoda, where the monk we have all seen who set himself alight protesting Buddhist persecution lived. His car is still there. You can see his car. On day 6 in Hue, it's a free day. You can take a Sayom or taxi to the local beach and go kayaking, or have a vendor cook and serve your fresh seafood right on the beach. Or Maybe you want to visit the local market for some bargaining, some shopping and interacting with the locals. Or you might want to just spend the day sleeping. Or you might want to take a cyclo tour of the city. This is your day to do as you wish. I'll be available to assist. On day 7, we crossed the demilitarized zone. Nowadays, there's no checkpoints, there's no soldiers, there's no guns. This was the area that separated the north from the south during the war. Today we go by train to Hoi An, skirting the Hai Van Pass. You better have your camera ready. You will use it a lot. We'll go by the soft seat option, which is air-conditioned, and the trip only takes a few hours, passing some of the most spectacular scenery you are likely to ever see. In the afternoon, in Hoi An, after settling into the hotel, we'll take a leisurely paced boat tour of the river and see the ancient town from the perspective olden-day sailors saw it when it was Phi-Pho, one of the busiest seaports in Asia. Finishing the river tour just after dusk, we'll dine in one of the excellent riverside restaurants where I can vouch that the food is probably the best in the world. On day 8, another free day. There's so many things to see in Hoi An, we can't include everything, but you will want to discover for yourself. You can take a walk through the heritage-listed town, stopping to eat at cute little sidewalk cafes, or take a sayom out to the beach, and ask a local to take you for a ride in a coracle or tuktan. If you ask them, they will allow you to try to row it. It was a very frustrating experience and requires great skill. Or you could take a bicycle. Mostly they're available from most hotels. And just head off in the direction that you like. Plenty of interesting countryside to see, to photograph, and lots of locals to talk to. They will all be very friendly. Day 9. We go from Hoi An to Da Nang. It's a very short distance. On our way to Da Nang, we'll probably go by sayom or taxi. It's not far. We'll stop at the Marble Mountains and take the easy walk over them. You'll see amazing pagodas, shrines carved into the inside of the mountains, and you'll be able to observe craftsmen and women fashioning magnificent marble carvings. And oh yes, they definitely are available for sale. In the afternoon of that day, in Da Nang, we'll check into the hotel and relax for a while, take a bicycle, cyclo or motorbike and explore the city, or book a tour to Mi Khe Beach, the famous China beach the Americans loved so much during the American War, or the Vietnam War as the Americans call it. Other tours available are to the Mission Holy Land, which are Cham ruins. It's very interesting. You take a tour up to Bana Hill Station, high up in the mountains overlooking Da Nang, and would take dinner at one of the city's restaurants and early to bed, for tomorrow we fly early to Nha Trang, the playground of Vietnam. On day 10, we book into a hotel and take a stroll at Nha Trang to the best municipal beach in Vietnam. We take a cyclo or sayom or motorcycle or a bicycle tour of the city and surrounds. We can lunch at the Australian Sailing Club on the beachfront. Afternoon, we might visit the hot springs for a mud bath, a hot water bath and a massage. At dusk, it's very nice to join the locals on the beach for a soccer friendly, and that promotes great understanding, and you get to talk with the locals very close and up front. And we could dine at a beachside restaurant like the Louisiana Club. On day 11 at Nha Trang, after breakfast we take a sayom or taxi tour to Doklet Beach and the salt mines to see how the people work so hard for a living. You take a dip in the ocean at Doklet Beach and then back to Nha Trang City and a cable car to Vin Pearl to enjoy the fun park. As evening falls, we come back to the mainland for a nightcap at Crazy Kim Bar, where funds are raised for orphans. Next day we go from Nha Trang to Saigon. Today we travel to the airport in the Phan Rang Desert, and we fly to Saigon. Ho Chi Minh City is sometimes called the throbbing heart of Vietnam. 18 million people live here. 8 million of them officially, 10 million of them unofficially. So from the French colonial architecture to the ultra-modern, it's all here. Rich in modern history with places like the famous Ben Thanh Market, where the motto is, if we don't have it, you don't need it. and into the crazy traffic jams that Saigonese live with every day. Saigon is at once breathtaking, exciting, and just a little frightening. A hotel will be very near the centre, where all the action is. On the 12th day, we'll take a cyclo tour of the inner city and try to get our heads around the sheer volume of traffic. Our tour will visit a few places, but will include the Reunification Palace, where we'll take a tour and giggle about why it's nicknamed Maxwell Smart's Palace. We'll also visit the Bantan Market, where you can bargain for deals on candy, handicrafts, silk, eat fabulous food, haggle over jewellery, watches, and buy designer clothing and handbags, shoes, and so much more. The market is frequented by some very colourful beggars who will challenge you with their wit and their humour. Also, in the evening of that day, we'll take in the backpacker area, Pham Nu Lao. It's heavily frequented by backpackers from all over the world for an evening meal. Very cosmopolitan. We can choose from Viet, Indian, American, Russian, Chinese, Thai, and so much more. You can even buy bestseller books and CDs and DVDs at amazingly low prices from wandering vendors who will come to your table. You can even get a massage, both types, normal, and some with extras. On the 13th day, we take a Mekong Delta tour. Today you'll take a nail-biting bus trip down to the Mekong Delta. Why nail-biting? The bus drivers are crazy. You'll travel along old VC canals by boat, rowed by beautiful Mekong Delta women, and be amazed at how rich the Delta is, its soil, its produce, its people, and especially the never-ending rice fields. You'll visit orchards and sample the produce and take part in a traditional meal, as well as ride in a horse cart, meet some local wildlife, and visit a coconut candy factory, and you may be asked to help in making coconut candy. If you are unlucky, you may be treated to a Kai Lun or traditional music concert of the Delta. Day 14, Saigon. A free day, so much to do. Most people will have differing ideas of what they want to do on this day. Maybe you want to take a half-day tour to the Kuchi tunnels and shoot an AK-47. Or maybe you want to visit the Cao Dai Temple in Tay Ninh. Or visit the amazing post office back in Saigon. Or take a river cruise. Or just go back to the market for that must-have item. Enjoy this day. I'll be available to help. Thank you. Thank you for joining me and allowing me to show you where my real home is. They say home is where the heart is. I hope I've helped you see a very different culture and experience a little of what I have loved for so long. So for now, I won't say dump yet, because that means goodbye. I will say instead, hang up lai, which means see you again.